let's get into this. All right, so there was some controversy with Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm going to be curious to see what you guys think. So, a little bit of context in this. I am a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic, okay? I didn't do that. I actually never wanted to do it because I don't find myself on that level where it's like I feel that intelligent where I can critique movies. I just feel like I'm an average dude, and there's a lot of average dudes out there, and so average dude opinion to another average dude opinion. This movie's good, this movie sucks. Hopefully you'd listen to me. But the catch is, as a YouTuber, studios don't care. You could tell them I have 1 million subscribers. People watch my reviews and they get hundreds of thousands of views. They go, yeah, but you're a YouTuber. Doors that way, my friend. They don't care. So I found out a long time ago, if I want to be taken seriously to the studios for like asking them for press screenings or links to stuff early, I have to get on Rotten Tomatoes because that's when they'll listen to you. That's when they'll treat you like a king, okay? If they find out I'm on Rotten Tomatoes and I can put them a little, like, a green booger on their movie, they're like, oh, here, we give you everything, sir. Please give us good review. Although, a lot of people think that they pay for reviews. None of that's ever happened to me, okay? It's always just opinion-based, but being on Rotten Tomatoes has helped me get to press screenings and do all that kind of stuff before that was difficult before. But there has definitely been a lot of scrutiny on Rotten Tomatoes lately with the whole critic side, and there's still a lot of people that don't understand how the score works. Basically, what I'm getting at is Rotten Tomatoes recently changed their website and their Google searches to stop reflecting the critic score, and this is kind of interesting. So now the website buries reviews all the way at the bottom, and then they only show you 2. If you want to see more, you have to like click on them and go. And this has actually pissed off a lot of people who are on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, I don't want to act entitled and be like, hey, Rotten Tomatoes, show my review. This is important to me. And I'm like, I get it. But the part that is kind of sneaky that I'm like, this is a little weird. Now, when you Google a movie, it doesn't show you the Rotten Tomatoes score for the critics. It shows you the audience score. So let me go to like a fan favorite of mine, right? Like, let's see. What's a movie that like critics hate but audiences love? I don't know. Let's do Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's. So the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, right? You get on here and then you see, whoa, it got 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. Dude, the critics love Five Nights at Freddy's. The movie was a masterpiece. That's awesome for it. Let's click on it. Oh, wait, what? The critics gave it 32%. The audience score is 87. Critic score is 32. This is where we're getting into the controversy. I don't know who's behind this or who decided this, but now when you Google a movie, which is what a lot of people do, there's nothing wrong with that. I've done that before, where like there's a new movie I want to watch that's on VOD or even in theaters, and I haven't heard anyone talk about it. I'll Google it and see what the Rotten Tomatoes score is, and it gauges my excitement for the movie. It doesn't totally determine whether I'll watch it or not, but hey, we've all done it, and that's fine. But this is definitely some sneaky stuff, because a lot of people have not noticed this yet. So imagine you're somebody who's not much into the movie space. You don't know. Most people or critics did not like Friday Nights at Freddy's, and to really like the movie, you have to be a fan of the games. You would just Google it, see this 87%, and go, oh, that's worth my money. Let's hit play. Oh, that was not for me. That I did not enjoy that. I did not like that. That's going to be happening now to a lot of people. So let's go to a Cat in the Hat. You know, that's probably, I think that still has a bad audience score, but it's still not as bad as the critic score. So like 57%, which how do audiences say that? You click on it, and then you get to the Rotten Tomato page, which is loading up here. Give it a second. And there you go. It's a 10% critics, but 50% audience. This is definitely some sneaky stuff. This could be a studio decision, pressuring on Rotten Tomatoes. This could be a Google thing. I don't know who's the determining factor of this. And I have already seen some people argue, like, why is this a big deal? The IMDb is an audience score base, because IMDb, right, which a lot of people use. I don't know how reliable you want to take IMDb, but a lot of people use IMDb sometimes, and you're like, yeah, Chris, but IMDb is an audience-based score. It's like you just have to make your account, and then you can give it as many stars as you want. Anybody can do it. You don't have to be a critic or get approved or anything like that. That's true. But it's already understood to people out there that IMDb is is general audience based. When you look at the Rotten Tomatoes score, you okay, this is determined by critics, or this some sort of professional level went into making this score or coming out with it, when that's not the case anymore. This score is now, as I don't want to say meaningless, but basically on the same level as an average score. And audience scores get manipulated all the time. I know people say, yeah, critics suck and the audiences is what matters. Well, I agree on sometimes audiences scores are manipulated, right? Like there's people who just downvote a movie if they think it's woke, or if that they just have an agenda. Like if it's a reboot or a remake, it'll have negative scores just because people like the original and stuff like that, or people just don't like the actress in it, or things like that. There's so many other factors that go into it. And so like this is just kind of a weird thing. I'm curious to see what you guys are saying in the chat right now. I know who to blame. Chris Parker is the one. Get him. Yeah, it was definitely me. Some people saying sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. It shows the higher score of the two, I believe. So I don't know. Okay, let's see for one. Okay, like this one, Midsummer. This will affect even A24 movies a lot, because A24 movies usually have a higher critic score over audience score, because A24 movies are a little bit more artsy, they get a little bit more metaphoric lore. There's more thought into the cinematography, the score, the performances, things that general audiences don't care about. They just want, this movie make me happy or mad, basically. And Midsummer is a movie that made a lot of people mad. And looking at it here, it has a 63% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's what it's saying right here, 63%. You click on it, critic score is 83. Audience score is 63. That 63 might be enough for someone to be like, I don't want to watch that. It needs to at least be a 70% for me to want to check that out. That 83 could have gotten more people to check it out. So it's not even a system where they're choosing the higher score. They're just flat out favoring the audience score over the critic score, which in a weird way defeats the entire purpose of Rotten Tomatoes, because Rotten Tomatoes is built on the critic score. And again, this isn't me defending Rotten Tomatoes. I don't get paid to be on Rotten Tomatoes. The only thing I like about being on Rotten Tomatoes is that it just gives me a thing to send to the studio and say, hey, can I see this movie early so I can review it for my channel? By the way, I'm on Rotten Tomatoes. That's the only thing I care about. I could care less whether people hate or love Rotten Tomatoes. That I just like that it helps me get access and look a little bit more professional. Because if I just said, I make YouTube videos, can I see your movie early? That my email's going to the junk box. So this is kind of an interesting controversy. I don't know what to make of it. Rotten Tomatoes holds a lot of power, more than you think on some people, because what was it? Movie execute, which I don't think is right, but let's see. I'm just putting in keywords. The article was Hollywood reportedly hiring directors based on their Rotten Tomatoes score. And that's how much power it has now. It's like if you're a director or a writer and you want to make something and you go to a producer or you pitch something, they don't go at your resume. They don't go at your box office charts. They go at like what your Rotten Tomatoes score is. Like that's how much power it has. And that's kind of sucks. I can imagine you could make one bad movie or a movie. Because how many times have we had a movie that when it was released, people hated it. People thought it was the worst thing ever. And over time, some people found love for it. Some people found enjoyment from it. And they're like, that movie was ahead of its time. Like I think of like The Cable Guy. You guys ever seen The Cable Guy with Jim Carrey? This was a movie that was hated when it came out. Got terrible reviews even now. You watch this movie, it's ahead of its time. It's a really great movie. It's one of Jim Carrey's underrated films. And, it's that kind of stuff. So I don't know. It's just interesting that this is now a thing. So I throw it off to you guys. You see this Rotten Tomatoes controversy. Now when you Google a movie, it shows you the audience score, not the Rotten Tomatoes score where it takes all the critic scores into one. Does that kind of defeat the purpose of what Rotten Tomatoes is? Or do you like seeing the Rotten Tomato audience score more? Do you think it makes sense? I'm curious to hear from you guys. Y'all let me know.